We'll go ahead and call to order our Brawley City Council and successor agency to Brawley Community Redevelopment Agency regular meeting agenda for Tuesday, February 4th, 2020 at 6 p.m. at our City Council chambers, 383 Main Street, and here in Brawley, California.
The minutes will reflect all council members present.
Okay, thank you, Alma. And we're going to have the invocation by Pastor Jory Mata from Victory Outreach.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, I just come before you this evening, Lord. I just pray over this council meeting, Lord God. Just bless this agenda, Lord. Continue to use this city officials, Lord God, just to better our city, Lord, and bless every employee and be with them at this time, God, as they continue just to improve and better our city. In Jesus' name I pray. And we all say, Amen.
Amen.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's see. Mr. Councilman Couchman, will you lead us in the pledge?
Ready, begin. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Couchman, and thank you, Mr. Mora. Did he leave already? Okay.
Mike York, everybody, hand a big round.
Hi, Mike.
Everybody bows. Huh?
Yeah, he bowed. I mean,
Great, man.
Okay, we'll go ahead and move forward to the approval of the agenda. I have a motion.
I'll move to approve the agenda.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Agenda is approved. Okay, we'll move on to public appearances and comments. This is time for the public to address the council on any item not appearing on the agenda that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the city council. The mayor will recognize you, and when you come to the microphone, please state your name for the record. You are not allowed to make personal attacks on individuals or make comments which are slanderous or which may invade an individual's personal privacy. Please direct your questions and comments to the city council. Marjorie, did you want to come up at this time? Okay.
I'm here as a member of the Brawley Library Friends, which is actually their new legal name. We're having a book sale Saturday from 9 to 1, and everything is $1 a bag. They are cleaning out all the inventory and all that good stuff, so we have plastic bags, fill it up, it's $1. And we have all the history books saved for Sam, so we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
So thank you.
I'll pay
thank
two.
you.
Okay, thank you.
You'll pay two. We're going to bid.
Thank you, Marjo. Okay, moving on to introduction of the newly hired accounting assistant Jessica Castillo by Finance Director Tyler Salcido. Tyler?
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and fellow council members. With us today is Jessica Castillo, Accounting Assistant with the Finance and Utility Departments. She started with us back in November of this last year. Jessica has been in banking and customer service for most of her career. She started way back in high school with the IVROP program while as a senior, learning the basics of teller duties. From there, Jessica was hired as a part-time teller with Union Bank in 2007. While at Union Bank, she was promoted to full-time teller and then later to relationship banker, assisting customers with their banking needs. Before coming to us, Jessica was employed at Sun Community as a member service representative and eventually senior teller, which was a supervisory role. Jessica has all of the cash handling and balancing skills and customer service experience that is needed for our job over there that she's doing, and is a very, very, very valuable addition to our team, and has hit the ground running and has exceeded expectations to date. We are glad to have her aboard. Jessica.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm glad to be part. Can't wait to continue learning. There's so much different stuff, but ready for it.
Fantastic.
Very nice.
And she was very nervous.
I mean,
Don't
my
be nervous.
coworker took vacation the first month after, so it was a learning. It was fun.
Fantastic.
Does the council have any comments?
Just congratulations. Look forward to seeing you over at the accounting office.
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations on your new role and wish you well. Thank you.
Yeah, glad to have you. Welcome aboard.
Likewise, I'm glad to be part of the team.
Yeah, welcome on board. I've already paid a city bill with you, so good job. There were no problems. My check didn't bounce, right?
Should let
Welcome
you
on
know.
board.
Congratulations, Jessica. Looking forward to working with you and hope you stay with the city of Brawley for many, many years.
The old Chinese food
I hope
places.
so too. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, excuse me.
Okay, moving on to item 2B, the proclamation declaring February 7th through the 14th National Marriage Week in the city of Brawley, presented to Ms. Maria Lopez Pantoja with the IVROP project coordinator.
Don't see her.
Is she here?
No.
Let me check.
Wait,
Let me
or-
double check.
She's gonna double check.
Maybe she's getting
We
married.
can,
Make a presentation if she arrives late.
Yeah.
right. we'll
We
go
can
ahead
always
and-
send it
we
to
can
her.
always-
Have a ceremony, maybe? No?
A marriage, somebody
Yeah,
get married? Yeah.
Marriage ceremony.
National Marriage Week.
Yeah,
We
been
can do
thinking
it
about
right.
it.
Okay, we can.
You've
we
been
can
thinking
wait.
about it?
Renew
right.
your vows. Huh?
We'll go ahead and move on then to item 3 on our consent agenda. Items are approved by one motion. Council members or members of the public may request consent items be considered separately at a time determined by the mayor. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Or any abstentions? Okay, the motion carries. Thank you. Okay, moving on to regular business. Item 4A, discussion and potential action to award project number 2019-7 Allen Street Water Pipeline Replacement and Improvements Project to Granite Construction Company in the amount of $613,316 with a 10%, is that right? Yeah, with a 10%. Put my glasses on.
Good evening,
That's
Mayor, members of the council. Guillermo Sillas, Public Works Director.
Okay, and the backup is on pages 74 to 76. Thank you, Guillermo.
This item is to rehabilitate with the new structural section of Allen Street between El Cerrito and Western Avenue, including the water line that has been repaired many times in recently weeks, but also since long time ago. And it is a required project due to the extensive damage of the street due to the water breaks. So we were able to identify funds for this project, and we advertised and received some proposal resulting granite construction, the lowest bidder. And the item that you have before you is to award this contract and to start construction as soon as possible to be able to alleviate the situation with the residents over the last weeks with extensive damage on the street, causing inconveniences and traffic interruption and all, that disturbance of the normal traffic.
Okay, thank you, Guillermo. Any questions from council?
How long do we expect this project to run?
I believe it was, I can't remember exactly, 45 to 60 days.
Okay. Are we gonna get any kind of feedback from the residents?
I'm sure we will. We've got an intention to undertake community outreach among the affected residents. There will be a period of time, you might recall when we talked about the project approach, the ability to service the properties continuously with water will be our number one goal. But as a result of the construction activity plan, there will be periods of time where access by cars will be restricted. So
To the street or
That was gonna
to
be my
the
question.
parking?
Yeah.
Is that what we're talking about, street parking, street access? Will we close the street at any time on this
you want
project?
to walk through?
Yes, because we will have to do excavation to reconnect the services.
Okay.
And we will try to minimize the disturbance, but there will be short period of times where they cannot use the driveways or park along the street. So unfortunately, they will have to leave it outside of the street and walk. There will be always emergency access, but not parking us regularly.
When we do the community outreach, will we check with those people and see if any of them are disabled or have an issue with parking long distances and walking long distances? Because that could be the bigger issue there, right there. And make sure that we're covering all our bases over there, because people get upset. We got to do it. We know we have to do it, but they do get upset. Make sure they're all informed, and then check with anybody that may have a difficulty with mobility over there, because that could be a problem.
Yes, we will have meetings before the beginning of construction, and also we will provide contact information at any given time they require something, like special assistance. So to provide those type of services.
Okay. Okay.
Guillermo, how many blocks of that particular area are
It's just one
affected?
block.
One block?
One block
Oh,
from
okay.
El Cerrito to Western
Okay,
Avenue.
so that shouldn't be too bad.
Not
Shouldn't
much
be
walking.
It's not too bad, but we always have elderly people, and then there may be some other people that are in there that may not be able to make that
Okay.
walk very readily, and we need to make sure that we try to accommodate whatever we're going to have to do.
We'll go
Okay.
to all lengths that we can to accommodate, and recognizing that particular block, if you haven't had a chance to drive it recently, the lots are a little bit smaller. There's quite a few homes that are within the single block, so it's going to try people's patience, but hopefully it'll be a final correction that we won't be back there
Yeah.
anytime soon to address emergencies.
I think they've had more inconvenience with other things
And
than
we
this.
need,
so-
and we need the construction company to understand those things and no delays,
Yes,
those types of
of
things.
course.
I think,
Okay.
yeah, okay, sounds good.
Thank you, Guillermo.
Thank you, Guillermo.
Okay, let's see.
And it's local, so. it's
Did
just
it
a
vote?
Okay, we're
So
gonna
we need to
move.
make a motion on that.
To make a
Yes.
motion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Action?
Yeah.
Motion.
That was an action item. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move that we.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the motion carries. Thank you. Okay, then moving on to item 4B. Okay. Should we,
You might want to do it first.
Tyler, I'm sorry, since your presentation is probably going to be kind of lengthy, and I think our representative
We have the
from
representative from
IVROP just
IVROP
arrived,
here.
so
She's
we'll
here.
go ahead
We'll
and
let
go
her
back
do
to
it.
that, and then
Sure,
we'll come
no
back to you.
problem. We'll bring
Okay,
you up.
thank you. Okay, let's see. Maria Lopez Pantoja? Welcome. Okay.
Thank you.
So we have on the agenda a proclamation declaring February 7th through the 14th, 2020 National Marriage Week in the city of Brawley, presented to Ms. Maria Lopez Pantoja, who is the IVROP project coordinator. And we have the proclamation here. Was there something you wanted to say before I read the proclamation? Or?
I can wait after you read it. That's fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So you bear with me, it's a long proclamation. It's a good one. The proclamation is declaring the week of February 7th through 14th, 2020 as National Marriage Week. Whereas marriage binds couples together in a network of affection, mutual aid, and mutual obligation, commits parents to their children, connects children to a wider network of welcoming kin, and provides ongoing support for the growth of healthy children and a healthy family. And whereas mounting scientific evidence confirms that the best environment for children to flourish is being raised by parents in healthy marriages, and these children demonstrate less behavioral problems in school, are less likely to be a victim of physical or sexual abuse, less likely to abuse drugs and alcohol, less likely to commit delinquent behaviors, and are less likely to be raised in poverty. And whereas healthy marriages protect adults as well as children, mothers as well as fathers, and research indicates that women in healthy relationships experience more physical and emotional health, greater wealth, are less likely to be victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, or other violent crimes, less likely to attempt or commit suicide, have diseased risk of drugs or alcohol use, and more likely to have better relationships with their children. And whereas research also indicates that men in healthy marriages live longer, are physically and emotionally healthier and wealthier, have increased stability of employment, higher wages, decreased risk of drug and alcohol abuse, have better relationships with their children, and are less likely to attempt or commit suicide. And whereas the City of Brawley acknowledges the importance of lasting healthy marriages for the well-being of children and the future of our community. Physically, emotionally healthy and educated citizens experience decreased domestic violence rates, crime statistics, teenage pregnancy rates, and juvenile delinquency. Whereas higher rates of home ownership, higher property values, and overall decreased need of social services, recent advances in research have helped to identify the behaviors and skills necessary for a healthy relationship. Furthermore, we now have proven methods for teaching these skills and behaviors. And now, therefore, it be resolved, I, Norma Kastner-Howdigi, Mayor of the City of Brawley, do hereby proclaim the week of February 7th through 14th, 2020, be proclaimed as National Marriage Week. And in witness hereof, I have hereunto set my hand caused the seal of the City of Brawley to be fixed on this 4th day of February 2020. And I'll present it to you and
Okay.
you can go ahead. If you
Thank you very much. Again, nice to see you, everyone. My name is Maria Pantoja, or Lopez Pantoja. I recently changed my name, but I've been married for 10 years.
Well, happy anniversary.
Thank you.
There you go.
And well, thank you for reading the proclamation and for joining IVROP Family Development and Stabilization Projects and hundreds of organizations nationwide in celebrating National Marriage Week, USA, this February 7th to the 14th. National Marriage Week USA is a collaborative campaign to strengthen individual marriages, reduce the divorce rate, and build a stronger marriage culture, which in turn helps curtail poverty and builds and benefits children. Overwhelming research tells us that broken families impact the health, wealth, and productivity of our state. IVROP understands that healthy and supported individuals and families are better prepared to succeed in all facets of life. The IVROP Family Development Stabilization Projects provide support, guidance, and skill development for each member or of a family unit and for the family as a whole. Our Career Technical Education Department and school partners also understand that healthy home environments support student success. IVROP's employer partners also acknowledge that healthy home environments are paramount to a happy and productive workforce. IVRP will be posting a series of healthy marriage tips during National Marriage Week. We ask that everyone visit our website at www.ivrop.org. And thank you for supporting the work of IVRP and for your work in promoting healthy marriages and healthy families in Imperial County.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Present it?
Yeah.
Got it?
My wife says I'm not very good at it.
Happy marriage, huh? Happy marriage. Yeah. Hey, Sam's really good at it. He's been married 3 times.
I'm like a poster child.
He likes it so much. He does it over and Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
your
you very
time.
much.
Thank you.
It's actually really nice to remind us all of all the value of happy marriages. Thank you. Okay, then we'll go back to item 4B.
You're up, son.
Our Finance Director, Mr. Tyler Salcido.
Good evening again, Mayor, fellow council members. And my wife tells me every day how lucky I am and to be married.
That's true.
Amen. Mine is too. Amen. Someone had to say it.
Yeah.
I tell her how
Very lucky.
she has to be married to me.
Right?
So before us today is the mid-year review, 6 months for the 2019-20 budget. This first slide here is an overview of the approved budget that was adopted back in December. with the beginning balances, the total current revenues, current expenditures, and then the ending balance for all the funds, the whole city budget. There was no, and for the general reserve fund, general fund reserve for 2019-2020, there was no deficit, no operational deficit budgeted due to the use of highway relinquishment interest to the tune of $458,000.
Got it.
Oops, all the way to questions, huh? That's
Okay.
No, don't do that.
Quick presentation.
Questions, all right. Next.
It's
Where you at?
wrong key here.
Okay.
Okay,
Overall.
so
Got it.
what you have here is the overall city budget for 1920. On the left-hand columns is the approved budget for the whole year, revenue, total expenditures, and then the expenditures are separated out between operations and capital projects. On the right, you have the actuals through 12/31/2019. As you can see, those are the dollar totals. For revenues, we're at 42%. Expenditures for the whole total expenditures are at 39%. Operations expenditures, 47%, and expenditures for capital projects, 17% of the total budget. As you can see, capital projects are skewing the percentage on the total expenditures, being that we haven't expended everything on the capital projects to date. That lowers the total overall, but when you break it out there, you can see the difference. The next slide here is the overall approved budget year over year at 6 months. On the top, you have 1920, and below you have 2018-19. We were 42% of the revenues to date for this year, as opposed to 29 last year. Expenditures were 39 and 30. And if there's any questions, just interrupt anytime.
I think we probably asked similar questions from one year to the next, but is it just in that year-over-year comparison, is there, I mean, that's a decent gap. Is there a reason just more of the revenues have been realized? Is it accounting, or is it?
It's accounting. It's there's been some in the prior year. There was some postings that were a catch-up that weren't recorded at the time that it was actually happening. We're getting more caught up on that, more current. So that's the basic difference between the 2 years.
And the revenues?
Same. When you get to the end of the year, of course, there's a review with the audit and everything, and we catch those things. But in the meantime, we're trying to catch those as we go, and so it reflects on a more real-time basis. Okay, general fund, this is specifically to the general fund. Again, left column approved budget, right column actuals through December. As you can see, the revenue, we're right about 39%. That is due mainly to one item of what I call the big four general fund revenues. That's the VLS swap, which, as you'll see in a later slide, we just received basically half, 53%. In January, and the other one comes in May. That's how it is most every year. So that is why revenues appear to be lower than at 12/31. Expenditures totals are at 54% for operations, and we haven't spent anything on the capital projects to date for general fund. That $23,000 relates to the dispatch upgrade that we're in the process of installing. As a matter of fact, we just have not. We made the first payment on that in January, so that's going to go away. It'll be 100% expended.
What is that again?
The
Motorola dispatch upgrade, it was to the tune of about $660,000 total.
In the dispatch center, you may recall the PD-related portion we use special funds for, but we can't use those special law enforcement funds to offset the fire call volume related expense, so that had to be absorbed by the general fund, and that was the only general fund supported capital project this fiscal year.
Okay, thank you.
So on this slide, we have what I refer to as the general fund major revenue sources. It's the big four. I spoke to about the VLF swap, the timing in that. As you can see, property taxes were at about 62%. Sales tax 46% to date, and utility tax about 49%. And this slide is for last year. The difference between the two, this is 2018-19, where we were at this point in time was 58% for property tax, and sales and use was 31, and utilities were right just over half. Major revenue sources here, the general fund variances, explained a little bit deeper. Property tax was a 7% increase over the prior year when you use actual to date. For property taxes, payments are allocated in December, April, and June normally. Those are the timing of those payments. VLF swap, property tax, we have discussed previously with the 1.2 million, came in this last month in January. Sales and use tax has increased about 38% over prior year. When you consider the late postings or catch up for the prior year, it actually amounts out to about 24% increase year over year.
Not bad.
And utility tax, we're about at 1% within of the prior year.
What was the amount on the mid-year for 2018-19 on the VLF swap?
It was around $1 million. Let's see.
They're both zero as of
December, but in January it came in right around 1 million. I don't have the exact figure.
Wondering what the difference was, yeah.
Okay.
About 1 million? you think?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
A little over, but I don't have the exact figure.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got it.
Okay, so here, let's see. These are, this again is a different view of the big four. The mid-year actuals comparison, as you can see, in dollars as opposed to percentages, the increase year over year was 85,000 for property taxes, about 415,000 when you consider the posting. That's about 215,000 for sales tax, and utility tax was about even, $5,600.
Interesting.
So as we move into the expenditures for the budget, some of the, as you recall, year-to-date total operating expenditures at 6 months were about 47%. So here is one specific expenditure that we pulled out to look at was the overtime for all funds. As you can see, the general fund is tracking a little higher than over the 50%. We're almost about 2/3 of through the dollar-wise compared to at 6 months. And as the other funds there, the major funds are listed. 2018-19 below, you can see where we were trending there at the last same point in time last year.
Wow, that's a big difference.
So the next slide, general fund overtime is broken down to the specific departments in the general fund for the 6 months. Those are there in front of you. The outliers, of course, was the public safety, non-sworn dispatch. They've been understaffed for a long period of time, trying to get that those position filled. You can see what that's done to the budget. Under the sworn, it's showing 25%. In the budget for 1920, that includes a San Gabriel estimate of about $220,000 estimate for overtime payment for this year. So that's added in that in the $345,000 that includes the 220. So that would put regular overtime for the year at 125 budgeted.
Okay.
And just for the public's sake, the San Gabriel estimate is litigation brought, that was brought onto the city. So it is a lawsuit. That's what that was.
Yes.
Unfunded mandate.
Yep.
And then for 18-19, this is the overtime with for the general fund broken down for the 6 months. And you can see the sworn was still had staffing issues. Non-sworn as one of the deal. Fire overtime was pretty high. Both should note, both chiefs, Acting Chief York and Chief Sawyer, have made steps and changes to try to control that overtime for this year. And it's an ongoing discussion that, working with their departments and finance, they've done quite a bit to try to mitigate some of those overtime issues. Now we move to the other, some of the other funds, the gas tax. Again, left approved, right is the actual through December 2019. You can see that we're on track revenue-wise, pretty close. Total expenditures 27, operating at 30%, and capital projects at 21. Any questions on that slide? I can continue through there. Okay, Measure D is a sales tax. It's a half-cent sales tax with oversight by the Imperial County LTA. It was approved in 1989, Measure D. That's what this amount of monies are. You can see revenues 22%. Currently, the revenues are low because fiscal year we have about 8 payments. The first one starting in November and then December. So most of the payments come after December. So that's the reason for that low percentage there. Expenditures total 16%, and you can see the operations are about 25% year to date, with currently none of the capital projects being expended to date. Water Fund 501. Again, you can see revenues are about on track, a little bit higher, 56%. Total expenditures 26 compared to budget, and with operations coming in at 36%. One thing to note on both the Water Fund and coming the next slide, the Wastewater Fund. We are about 51% of the operation expenditures because of technical accounting procedures where there's some debt service, and with the business type activities, those are more of what we call a balance sheet transaction. So that money has been expended, but it just does not show up for for accounting purposes, financial reporting purposes under expenditures. But for the budget, we account for it under the expenditures, so the council is aware of it. So in reality, for the next two, 501 and 511, water and wastewater, our expenditures are right on par at 51%. Give or take. Hopefully I didn't confuse anybody.
Yeah, sure.
Wastewater Fund, again, the debt service is what's driving the expenditures, operation expenditures down to about 36%. Again, we would be at 51 when you can take the debt service into account. That has been paid, by the way. And capital expenditures are about 3%. Water and Wastewater Fund, additional information. There's a Water Fund loan to the wastewater of about $1.14 million. It's 11 annual payments remaining. It's $102,000. That payment has not been paid on our books, and it's transferred over. It's not an actual exchange of cash, but that is pending for this 1920. We have not done that from the finance department yet. Residential and commercial utility rates, no further increases are scheduled. Rates and sewer rate study, water and sewer rate study would be needed if we were going to go down that path. In this year's budget, a study is budgeted for this fiscal year for that. Solid waste, 521, another business type activity fund, right on par. You can see 50% all the way across the board there. And the airport fund, the operations expenditures are skewed by the capital projects that haven't been spent yet. Preventative measures for budget overrun, a monthly review of expenditures and revenues, for that matter, with the department, with each department and the finance director. We try to get to the bottom of all variances. Sometimes it's a matter of just maybe something was recorded to the wrong GL, and we correct that. Finance produces revenue and expenditure reports now 10 business days after the end of the month to get it to all departments on a timely manner, so we can try to cut off any issues before they become huge issues. Other preventative measures that we continue to try to review all contracts and consolidate all of them through finance. There's, for example, shop supplies and office supplies and uniforms, like with those type of vendors. Every department has their own little contract, and we're getting a lot of different service charges and everything. So I've met with the related vendors and say, hey, we need to consolidate these things and try to cheapen up those bills. And there's other types of contracts that we're looking at too.
Okay.
Outlook, general fund pressures, the overtime payouts and legal expenses related to the San Gabriel decision, as Councilmember Nava has mentioned. Some new policies, procedures, programs that we've had brought to the council previously are fully implemented now. The fire cost recovery this last month in January, and the maintenance and fuel program is fully implemented as of January as well. So preliminary year-end close for this last year, 2019, my auditors are here starting tomorrow. Before any audit review and adjustments, we're looking at a general fund reserve for the prior year of about $229, call it $230,000. The water fund and wastewater fund will have an operating gain. And that's it for the presentation. Any questions?
Any questions for the council?
None at the time.
No, not at this time.
I know where we're headed.
Comprehensive.
I mean, thank you. It's
Looks pretty comprehensive.
I just want to thank you for the monthly review that you're going to be conducting, because I think that'll really help keep us current on everything and no surprises, and, you know. And of course, if there are any, you'll be sure to let us know. But
Yeah.
we appreciate all the hard work that you put into this.
And it's not just finance, all the departments
And
are
the
doing
department heads,
doing
yes,
their
I
part
know.
too.
It takes all of you to
Yeah,
come
it's
together,
a total team effort. So.
Thank you.
Heather,
appreciate
I
it.
just had one.
Okay.
Just a quick, just on the overtime, because I know there was a lot highlighted there. Is there a point where there's a little bit of analysis, I think, between the department and finance of looking, are we at diminishing returns? I know we froze positions, but if you pay X amount out and overtime, you know, there's a point where it makes sense to unfreeze or move forward.
We haven't done that specific to bring back total dollars where that diminishing return hits, but that is definitely something that we're discussing, yes.
Just as a point of clarification, when what we're looking at in isolation is overtime alone as a line item, but because of vacancies, for instance, in the dispatcher realm, we're going to show overruns for overtime, but we have salary savings associated with the vacancy. So on many occasions, it ends up being a wash.
Right.
But obviously, if we're tipping the scale the other way because of the combination of sick days, workers' comp claims, and other issues that then kind of
that's the delicate balance. I understand. Yeah, just wanted to make sure we're keeping an eye on that. Very good.
One other quick question. You said there's an audit beginning tomorrow?
Well, the audit's been ongoing, but the auditors are on site tomorrow for the 18-19 financial audit. So, and hopefully that will be brought to you before the end of March.
You feel like you're ahead of the game?
Yeah.
With that?
We're definitely way ahead of the year before's audit, for sure.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay. Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Now Tyler's looking good, isn't
on
he?
the paper off my, see where I'm at here.
I think you're up again.
Okay, then we're moving on to item C, discussion and potential action to approve
You're up again.
auditing services contract with Moss Levy and
Don't
Hart's
get
Time for fiscal year ending June 30th in the amount of $54,500. Backup is in pages 100 through 106. Is that you, Tyler, again?
Yeah, I thought I was done.
No.
Before you, for your approval today, I'm sorry, Tyler Salcido, Finance Director. Before you today, for your approval, is the contract for auditing service for the FY 18-19 fiscal year. That was redundant, sorry, fiscal year 18-19, from Moss Levy and Hartime in the amount of $54,500. Yeah, last month, January 2020, the city has terminated the third and final year of the contract with Eat Bailey, which was formerly Bavernick, Tryon, and Day. Later this year, Finance will initiate a new RFP process for a three-year term auditing service commencing with FY 1920 to see who is interested and provide proposals back on the auditing service for the future years.
Okay.
Okay.
Very good.
I guess, I mean, I have no idea how much these cost, but I was kind of surprised at the amount, but I guess that's probably in the normal range?
The last year's, or the last auditor's term was about 59,800 and change per year.
Okay,
It's a little less.
all right.
Yep.
Are there any questions from council? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Tyler. Okay, moving on to item D, 4D. Discussion and potential action to adopt resolution number 2020. Resolution of the City Council of the City of Brawley, California, accepting grant funds allocated to the Citizens Option for Public Safety, COPS program, and submittal of the expenditure plan for fiscal year 2018-2019 funding through the State of California Local Safety and Protection Amount. Backup is on pages 107 through 111. And Chief Sawyer?
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of council, Robert Sawyer, Police Chief. What you have before you is the most current version of the Citizens on Police Service grant funding that's available to us through the state and federal funds administered by the Imperial County. Represents approximately $163,000 and some change that's available for frontline police equipment and services. The proposal for the use is to purchase some much-needed handheld radios to replace the currently outdated radio system that's non-compliant with the new next-generation upgrade that's coming due in the next 2 years. Additionally, there's some needs for mobile data computer replacement within the vehicles. And these funds are also used for the interoperable radio system that we are part of with San Diego County. So there's several uses for this, but this is an ongoing and reoccurring income for us and something that we highly depend on for several reasons within the county.
Okay, very good. Any questions from council?
Pretty straightforward.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the resolution, to adopt the resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? No, okay. Thank you,
you.
Chief. Okay, moving on to item 4E, discussion and potential action to adopt resolution 2020, resolution of the City Council of the City of Brawley, California, authorizing the city to apply for an award from the Infill Infrastructure Program, and the backup is on pages 112 through 114. And we have Mr. Geist here to provide us information on that.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, council members, Gordon Geist, Development Services Director. As you recall, probably just in the last meeting, we had almost identical resolution for the Chelsea development to apply for the same type of grant that allows the low-income infill projects to apply for off-site improvement funding. This one is for the AMG project, Ocotillo Springs, which is on South 18th and I Street. Very similar. They'll be constructing the full width of I the full length of South 18th Street from I to where the half street ends at the Best Western. And this could help fund that, as along with other infrastructure such as drainage. And
Very good.
do you have any questions?
Any questions? No?
Make a
Okay.
motion to approve the item.
Okay.
Second.
All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Geist.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item 4F. Discussion and potential action to approve Los Amigos de la Comunidad's request for sale and consumption of alcohol on public property, specifically on Main Street, North and South Plaza Park, on Saturday, March 28th, 2020, for the Cesar Chavez Community Celebration to be held from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. And the backup is on pages 115 through 118. And Marjo, it's all yours.
Thank you. This is a really fun traditional annual event. And again, it's requesting the sale of alcohol. Alcohol will pretty much finish being sold at 10 p.m. and then that gives an extra hour for cleanup, wrapping up, letting people finish their beer if they purchased it before 10. And it seemed to work pretty well for the chamber during the cattle call event, so having that extra hour makes it easier for them. The group has also is also paying for their road closure, and they're also paying for the overtime related to cleanup at the very end of the event also. Okay. So all of the money stuff is good. So, and Mr. Reyes is here if you have any more questions.
Okay. Any questions for anyone?
No questions, just I'm glad to hear that sales will go till 10 and then it'll wrap up till 11, right. So that's great.
And it's a great event and we're looking forward to it. Mr. Reyes, thank you. Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the item.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay, and any abstentions? Okay, there's a 4-1 vote?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. The motion passes, thank you. Okay, then we'll go ahead and go to item 4G, discussion and potential action to approve submittal of a letter to support to the California Energy Commission for the Salton Sea Geothermal Lithium Recovery Demonstration Project at the request of Berkshire Hathaway Energy Renewables. Backup material is on pages 119 through 121. Rosanna, did you want to cover that? Or?
So this item was brought to the city's attention first by former Imperial City Council member Mark Gran, who's working on behalf of Cal Energy. Mr. Gran reached out to both myself and Mayor Kastner Howdegi to see if the council would be willing to consider support of their project. The content that was provided in the original request talks a lot about the preferred technology and a lot of technical elements that honestly I don't think the city's in a great position to evaluate and rank or prioritize. So as we look through the draft that was provided and the potential for economic development, I did provide a edited version of the letter that council may be more comfortable advancing should you wish as a body to proceed. I did have a chance to touch base with the County of Imperial, and the county has submitted a letter of support on behalf of the project.
And my thinking was primarily to support it because of the economic growth for our county and to further the development of more geothermal activity here that brings us employment. So does anyone have any other comments or questions?
My comments just obviously read the letter, and I don't pretend to know the technical aspects, obviously, but I think just generally speaking, the discussion of the potential of lithium in Imperial County, specifically with the geothermal extraction, has all sounded exciting to me, and I think it put us in a competitive position a few years back, even with companies like Tesla. So I think, future's pretty bright on the renewable front. So I unless staff has any contrary recommendations, I would be for it for sure.
I agree.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
All right, I'll make a motion to support to move forward with a letter of support.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, thank you so much. A motion carried. Okay. We're going to go ahead and move on to number 5, departmental reports. First, we have an update by Public Works Director Guillermo Cias on the emergency construction at the Brawley Water Treatment Plant to replace components of 2 sedimentation basins and to recondition the water distribution pumps and motors. Mr. Cias.
Yes, good evening again. Let me just find my report. Okay, regarding the status of the water treatment plant sedimentation basin components replacement project, the emergency continues. On Wednesday, January 29, this year, the contractor started the demolition and removal of the materials at the sedimentation basin. The materials to be replaced and installed arrived the same day. They expect to complete the demolition this week. So the project, the construction started, and so contractor is day to day, and we expect him to recover and to complete the project on time.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Regarding the other project, the status of the rehabilitation of pumps 422 and 423, January 30th, the contractor installed the pump 423 at the water treatment plant, has been operating, and the project is completed. This will be the last report regarding this project. So pump 422 and 23 are fully replaced and operating
Very
properly.
good.
All right, that's great.
Good. Great news.
Been waiting a while for that.
Anyone have any questions for Guillermo or comments? Thank you very much, Guillermo.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item 5B, an update on efforts to restore the girls and adult softball leagues by interim Parks and Rec Director Marjo Mello.
Hello again. Very pleased about the community coming together in order to offer girls softball. Our Parks and Rec Commissioner Rusty Garcia spearheaded the effort, and with his efforts, we are now going to be able to offer softball to girls. It will be $60 for Brawley residents, $70 for non-residents. And signups will be starting March 10th. And we are just absolutely thrilled that so many people came together to raise money in order to have this project. We feel really, really good about it. As to the 2 adult leagues, a letter went out to the people who participated last year in the leagues to let them know how much the total cost would be and how much each team would need to raise. And we haven't really had any major conversations one way or the other about it yet. I'm sure it will be when it gets closer, because it is a later activity also, a little couple months later in the year.
In the cycle, yeah.
Yeah, so, and what we're looking at for that one is to see if each team can afford to pay or can come up with the money for their team's entry.
Okay, thank you.
So we're real excited about being able to offer that.
Okay,
That's great news.
sounds good.
Yes.
Thank you.
Very
I
good.
have one
Comment?
question, Marjo.
Sure.
For residents, how far out are you going for? Is within zip code or just in city limits for residents?
City limits, as far as I know.
Okay.
So if you kind of live in Pocolonia or whatever, you'd be considered a county resident.
Okay.
But we're kind of flexible with that kind of stuff. And we also have scholarships and things for people to help pay.
Okay.
I think we're
So
good.
I think we're really good at $60 a child.
That's great.
Yeah,
for sure.
that's affordable.
Thank you, Marjo. Okay, we'll go ahead and move on to informational reports. The monthly staff report for February, prepared by Shirley Bonias, Personnel and Risk Management Administrator, is on page 122. And you're going to give the report,
And Mayor,
Rosanna?
if you'd like, I think it might be helpful to recap the permanent vacancies that we have at this time, because we do have, I think, some updates that are of interest to the council based on questions we've fielded. Our new management analyst is scheduled to start February 10th. That person will be embedded in the finance department. And so while it's shown as one of the 5 permanent vacancies, that will soon be filled. In the police category, We do have one dispatcher and one CSO vacancy. We are hoping to have the CSO candidate cleared in the very near future. A conditional offer has been extended to our candidate, and provided all clearances will be met, we'll have a CSO in the fold, I imagine, within the next 2 to 3 weeks. And for dispatch, for the current vacancy there, we have 6 dispatch candidates currently in background. So once that work is complete, we'll hopefully be reporting out in the very near future conditional offers that have been extended for the dispatcher vacancies. So again, that's just 2 vacancies there in the department, and the intention is, with the additional candidates in backgrounds, that we may be in a position to establish an eligibility list, especially as the city may field other notices being given for individuals who are in backgrounds with other agencies currently, and we anticipate might be coming forward with giving us notice. And that's it. That's the total of 5 vacancies currently, and as council is aware, we will have a vacancy in the police chief position as of the 14th of February.
Thank you very much, Rosanna. You're welcome. Okay. Moving on to item 6B. We have a handout, pages 123, 124, record of building permits for December 2019, City of Brawley, prepared by Oscar Escalante, interim building official. And it's just for your review. Oscar's not here, right?
Correct.
Okay. If anyone has any comments or questions regarding the report? Okay. Moving on then to item B, attendance summary and minutes for City of Brawley Boards Commissions from October 1st through December 31st, 2019. And those are all provided for you in your packet. And hopefully you had an opportunity to look through them. Does anyone have any questions or comments regarding any of the board or minutes or anything?
No, just some members I know haven't participated in any meeting, I can see, but.
Do we want to consider some kind of direction on that, George, or?
I just noted it,
Observation.
but observation, and we'll leave it at that. I guess we'll give it another review the next month or so.
Right, yeah. I kind of had that question too. If I noticed that if someone doesn't attend the meetings, at what point do we consider contacting the person and see if they really have interest in continuing to participate, and perhaps we need to see if somebody else might be interested. Okay. Thank you for noting that, George. Okay, moving on to the city treasurer report. Quarterly investment summary, pages 150 through 151. Tyler?
So in your packet is the detail, the investment portfolio detail for the quarter ending December 31st, 2019. And every time I put it up on the screen, nobody can read it. So what I did was we just summarized by the type of investment for you here. So cash and cash equivalents is about 27 million, 61% of the total portfolio. Non-negotiable CDs 4.5. The negotiable CDs 11.49, and the U.S. agency obligations 1.49, for a total cash and investment portfolio of $44.5 million for the quarter ending December 31st, 2019. Investment activity for January since that time period, if you would recall, Sun Community was due to expire or mature in January. It was paying us 0.25%. I was able to negotiate with them to get a yield of 2.02 for the 12 months.
Oh.
So
That's
we
nice.
left it there.
Think about that. All you had to do is say it, you know, and it's like,
Yeah.
otherwise they'll just give us a,
Yeah,
you know,
it-
quarter of a
Quart-
percent,
nothing.
man. That's
Basically
we're
nothing.
loaning them that much money for nothing. I mean, it's
Yes,
Now we're
and
getting
and
2%.
I think maybe that's why they came in a little bit higher. For comparison purposes, LAIF right now at the end of January was 1.94%. U.S. Treasuries for a 5-year is only 1.42%, so that's a pretty nice deal there. Securities purchased through MBS, the negotiable CDs, a couple of them at $249,000 each, paying roughly 1.85 to 1.8%. Again, higher than the 5-year U.S. Treasury average. Securities redeemed is some of our negotiable CDs are what is called callable, and they pay you a little more up front, but they have the opportunity to call them at certain points and times if and it just depends on what the market's doing. So if the market's not in line to currently what those are paying, they'll call them back. As you can see, 2 of them were called, they were earning us 3.6 and 3. So that money has been reinvested back into those CDs up above.
Until we're getting less money.
Yeah,
out of this, but
and that's why they were
pretty
called,
much
because of what the market, we have no
standard.
control over that.
Yeah, that's right.
But you look at that,
a
at
high
the
percentage.
time that you're investing, and you see as long as they're at least 15 basis points higher than a non-callable CD, it's worth it to try to get that little extra money for the time there. And that's the yearly distribution of when these mature, that for each year through 2020 through 2025 there. Questions?
I'm just glad about the 2.02. It's such a difference. I mean, just the amount of interest that's going to be collected is so different.
Yes.
And
it
it's,
is.
you know,
Yeah.
and I don't think sometimes people capture, you're loaning the bank money. You're loaning, so they get to do whatever they're going to do with it, but you're loaning it almost for free, you know? So it's like, nobody gets that.
Yeah, that was,
You know, if you would loan me
Five.
$1 million and I paid you 2 points, I'd be happy to do that, you know? Seriously,
that's
I mean.
true, that's true. Very good, thank you, Tyler.
Thank you.
Good report. Okay. Moving on
Ooh, I'll pay
to
it back. 'Cause I'm
city
like
council member
800,000
reports.
Yeah.
And, let's see, do we want
I know.
to, want to switch it around, or we'll stick with the same? We'll start with Councilman Couchman.
Okay. I went to Mulberry School to do a history presentation, and I did it for the 4th through 8th grade, I believe, the other day. It was a very nice presentation on the Civil War, and my wife also accompanied me in costume, and we had a good time with the kids, and it was great.
I saw your
over there.
picture. It was
Yes,
great, yeah.
Yes, thank you.
You look very authentic.
And then I did Pioneer Days with the branding, as you saw my picture in the paper again
That
on the front
authentic,
page, helping the children brand pieces of wood out at the Pioneers Museum, teaching them about blacksmithing and a little bit about branding and different things that we did here in the valley, branding of cattle and all of that type of thing. So we had some discussion. A lot of school kids came by, quite a bit of attendance out there. I did the Civil War reenactment in Yuma. And I've been attending several funerals, and there's been several deaths, and might want to report on those. Steve Rebick's funeral, he was a longtime Brawley resident, and he passed away. And Dale Griggs passed away this last week. I'm sure his funeral will be coming up. My cousin Delia Sycon passed away also this week. And so I'm sure they'll be, and we'll miss those people because they were Brawley residents. They were active in Brawley all their lives pretty much. And I think we'll miss all of them. So that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Couchman. Councilman Nava?
Able to attend the State of the City Address for El Centro. I thought it was a good presentation. I also am now the chairperson for ICTCs for this year, so that'll be good.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And so it's going to be a big year for ICTC, and I'm looking forward to it, and I'll represent the city well in that capacity, so it'll be good. And just want to thank everybody for the hard work that they're doing. I know that we have some challenging times ahead, and you're seeing our budget update, and we're using relinquishment funds, interest, and other things to be creative and get our city passed. But thank you all very much for your commitment to the city, and look forward to this year and making some great improvements. Also looking forward to the mayor's address that's coming up in March. So thank you all. A lot of other stuff is happening. I'll update in the near future, but exciting time so far. 2020 has been a good year for me. I hope it's been a good year for everybody else. So let's keep that going.
Thank you. Councilman Wharton?
Wharton.
I have a hard time saying
very good.
Councilman. and-
Only I have to report out is
Call him
in,
Mr.
I think most of our council and staff certainly was involved, but a lot of the buzz going around about the HGTV project was just a wonderful community event. So everyone that's been involved and contributed in that, and I want to single out our sort of the front man on the video that's now gone viral. So great work as always, and certainly having council there with the shirts and then the rest of the community was really awesome. So.
Camera adds 90 pounds.
I don't normally look that heavy. I don't know what happened.
It only adds 20 pounds to me, it adds.
Well, I thought
He looked a little chunky.
our chiefs represented well, all our departments, the community, and I think some thank yous went out also by council members, community members of all those that contributed in putting that video together, specifically the Smiths. They know who they are, but exciting. We'll see
And
what
your
happens.
voiceover work was really
Very,
nice.
very nice. It was nice.
You know?
I'm working on it right now.
There you go.
Yes, there you go.
Hopefully soothing. No, it was wonderful.
right.
You have a great narrator voice. Very good.
Someone said it was a Civil War voice, by the way.
Oh,
Yes, the
okay.
Civil War
Yeah,
voice,
something
that's
like
it.
that.
Oh,
Like
okay.
Yeah,
for
that's
a
it.
documentary.
That sounds pretty good.
Civil War.
Put you to asleep. Or
But
at
should
least-
be nice.
At least put you in a relaxing, no, my voice, but,
Oh.
no, wonderful. And also echo, also just a lot of exciting things coming up and looking forward to the mayor's address and certainly whatever we can do to help. Let us know.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman Wharton. Mayor Pro Tem, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. If Donnie decides to do a Civil War documentary, Sam can be in the video. I can play the violin really sadly for it.
You can see the excitement.
Yeah.
There's tension building. I can
Sam
see
was
the tension
there.
building right now. We can cut it
He
with a
didn't have to
knife.
reenact. He was there.
I was waiting for Doris to throw out some comments.
I
when
was-
Sam was
he
talking
did.
about it.
He did.
You know, he was there, first person account of the Civil War or something.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice. That's what the kids think.
He really fits the part, though. He really does. doesn't
Did they
he?
think?
Yeah.
They didn't know you were dressed up?
They think I'm that old.
They didn't think you were dressed up?
No, they don't. They know I'm dressed up. They just think I'm that old.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's all right. There's not much to report anyway, but I did get to go to a late library board meeting. We had a little bit later in the month this year, and Sam wasn't able to go for me, so I went for myself. I was honored to be able to participate in a winter clothing drive last month, and so we distributed those clothes to the different elementary schools in Brawley, and different faculty will pass those out to kids that they see are in need. I attended a chamber board meeting and gave a council member liaison report there. Also got to attend the Pioneer Day out at the Pioneer Museum and saw Mr. Sam out there, as my little boy calls him. And he got to brand his own piece of wood, so he was thrilled about that.
Good job.
Got to ride the ponies.
We tried to brand Luke, but he wouldn't
Yeah.
consent.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Good job.
He wanted me to sing Hot Cross Buns for some reason.
Yeah.
Can I say that back here or not?
No, I didn't say anything like that. No. I don't-
Old Civil War joke, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
I take the fifth.
And then we just got here just in time for the hashtag We Are Brawley
That's
video.
right.
So
You
George,
ran up. You
George
ran up.
held the camera for us.
Yeah, yeah.
He joined us right in
Appreciate
That's
time.
right, huh? You were running. I was
Yeah.
like, run, Luke. And then you did. You booked
ran.
it. Yeah.
I'm getting used to running with
There you go.
That's right.
thanks to Donnie.
You can
Yeah.
mention it.
I'm sore all over, but
Yeah.
I'm getting fit. So that's
Good.
it for my report.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, I attended, for the first time, I actually participated in the point-in-time census count of the homeless here in Raleigh. And I never get up at 4:30 in the morning, but I did that day. And that was kind of interesting. I actually, it was an eye-opener. I mean, I know there's homeless people out there. I want to thank the chief for driving us around. And it was very interesting, you know, just talking to these people and finding out why they're living the way they're living, and we offered assistance, and also and got, I'm not sure what the final count was. I think this is the first year that we did it on our phones. And then they asked us to submit the info, so I'm not sure what the final counts were. I think we went down to the river bottom over here, and one of the men we talked to said that he thought there was about 20 living down there in the river bottom. So anyway, I was happy to do that. I'm looking forward to doing it again. Just, it was very interesting. I attended the HGTV kiosk event. I think it was really exciting. I think the people that put this together are great people. They love they really truly love Brawley, because I was really amazed at the final product. I think it's fantastic, and George and Donnie did a great job also on the video. The rest of us, we did okay. We just kind of waved and said we love Brawley. So, and I think we all agreed that the camera put about at least 5 or 10 pounds on us. I also attended the El Centro State of the City address. That was well attended, and a lot of things happening in the big city of El Centro. So very impressive, the things that are happening over there. And then I attended on Saturday. I didn't make it out to the Pioneer thing because I attended Eagle Scout. It's called Eagle Scout Court of Honor for Dominic Fiorenza. And that one was really well attended, a really nice program, and I was really impressed with the whole Eagle Scout program. It was an eye-opener for me on all the accomplishments for these kids that start out as Boy Scouts and end up as Eagle Scouts, but only 6% of the Boy Scouts end up as Eagle Scouts. So it's really, really a great accomplishment. And if you remember, he's the one that came before the council with his project to build the fence over Highway 86 over here, the Imperial Valley Research Center. So that was one of his last projects that he did. He's a senior, and he's going to be going on to college. So I was real happy to present him with a certificate on behalf of our city of Brawley. And as was mentioned, we're planning on doing our State of the City address, the Mayor's State of the City address, on March 5th, and it will be held at the Lions Center. So we'll be working on that. And that's about it. And I think that concludes my report. So then we'll move on to City Manager report.
Nothing to report at this time.
Okay.
Thank you.
City Attorney report.
Normally I don't report this stuff, but I got to go to the honor court too. I was invited by Dominic, who is one of my black belt students. And they say 6% of scouts make Eagle Scout, 1% of martial arts students make black belt. So it's pretty darn good.
Oh, yeah.
He's already elite.
It's really
elite.
neat. I've never been to one.
Fantastic.
Thank you. City Clerk report.
I have an update on the Parks and Recreation Commission applications. We ran the ad for the desert review starting January the 10th, and we closed on Friday, January 24th, 2020. But no applications were received, so I need direction on how do you want me to proceed.
So some ideas.
Okay. Throw some ideas at us.
Council could provide staff with some names. We could go and make proactive contact with individuals if you would like us to inquire of their level of interest. That's one thing that
That's a good idea, because a lot of times people miss the newspaper, or they don't get the newspaper.
That's true.
So they might have missed it. And I know there are people out there that are interested in serving, so if we know of anyone, or if Marjo and you or your staff know of anyone, or the council, please contact them, and we can set another, what deadline do you want us to?
We could do maybe another 2 weeks. I can send you the ad tomorrow, and George is really good about posting on Facebook.
Okay.
Or we could post on, and give it another, maybe the end of the month, January 31st.
And if you would like to furnish names?
February 29th,
Be happy
and
to
then
follow up. Yeah.
Okay, and we could.
Lloyd Miller.
Yeah.
He's always friends. He always shows up.
We nominate Lloyd Miller.
I move nominations be closed. All those in favor.
We could take official action. No, I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
Is that called drafting?
Okay, we'll do that then. Thank you,
and then
Alma. We'll go
send
ahead
it to you
and.
tomorrow again.
Okay. All right, okay, that concludes
Thank you, Lloyd, by the way.
our reports.
No, for the offer.
Did you offer, Lloyd?
No,
Yeah?
just to
Oh,
No.
do some work, yeah.
okay. All right, then we'll go ahead and, that concludes our regular meeting, and we're gonna go ahead and move into closed session.
Okay.
And thank you all for attending, and have a great rest of February, Valentine's Day, and the whole works.
See you on Valentine's.